Hello everybody and welcome to the UMass Sports Weekly Bar and Grill. My name's Tommy and I'll be your host for tonight. Let's see what's on the menu for tonight's show. First, we're going to give you a picture of Allie Furlow and the baseball team talking about their recent 2-game win streak that was snapped. Then, Allie Furlow returns with Tim Dennehy to give you some softball on draft. After that, Alana Alonji comes in to give you a smorgasbord of women's lacrosse. And then to finish off the show, John Anderson and Liam Byrne make the perfect pair as they give you a great dessert in men's lacrosse. It was a busy week. It's going to be a great show, and I haven't been to a restaurant in a while, so that was very impressive for me to come out on. This is UMass Sports Weekly.
This is UMass Sports Weekly.
And welcome back in. As is customary at any restaurant, we'll start you off with some bread, but in this case, it'll be baseball. I'm here with Allie Furlow to talk a little bit of that baseball. So, over the past 2 weeks, the Minutemen did have a 2-game winning streak. Unfortunately, it was snapped against Boston College by a score of 11-5. Allie, what did you believe was the Minutemen's biggest struggle in this 11-5 slugfest?
Well, it just seemed like the defense did not step it up. They were allowing runs. They allowed 11 runs, obviously, with the 11-5 win. 5 of them only in there by the second inning. So at the end of the second, it was already 5-0. The pitchers also, in particularly, were another big problem. Out of all of the 11 pitchers that the team has, only one has an ERA that is under 2. So I really think that defensively, this team needs to step it up.
Obviously, these pitchers are allowing runs in bunches, and that's clearly not going to be good for this team. So, Allie, the Beanpot Tournament, most people think of it as hockey, but there is a baseball one. It was snowed out this weekend. Apparently, they can cancel a baseball tournament, but not school for a day. Yeah, we all know what I'm talking about. So, Allie, first round of the Beanpot gets snowed out, and we're taking on BC again and some other rivals from around the city of Boston. What are we looking forward to, and how can we compete in this tournament?
Well, the only way that the Minutemen can compete in this game is if they do step it up defensively. They need to just get out there on the field for practice and just throw the ball around, get them working it, and get the pitchers really solid down with their pitching. Because if they do not defensively show up to that game, then it's going to be another 11-5 loss.
You know, pitching wins championships in baseball, and if you don't have guys making pitches, painting corners, and at least throwing strikes, which has been a problem for this UMass team all year, it's definitely going to be another issue. So, Allie, BC, Northeastern, and some of the rest of the teams of the Beanpot, luckily, are not in conference play. UMass obviously being in the A10. What do we have to look forward to for conference play?
Well, so the next game that's up in the A10 conference play for the Minutemen is against the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. So let's take a look at the stats of these two teams. For the Bonnies, they are 11-10-1 overall and 0-3 in the conference, and they lost all 3 of those games to VCU. So right now they are in last place. Some of the players to watch for are senior Ted Diltz, the designated hitter for the Bonnies. He has 9 RBIs and 2 home runs so far in the season. And also junior TJ Baker. He is a pitcher and has a 1.93 ERA and 6 strikeouts. On the other side for the Minutemen, they are 4-12 overall and 1-2 in conference play. People to look out for, senior John Jennings. He's a catcher and first baseman. He is a batting average of .333 and 4 home runs so far for the season. And then pitcher Evan McIntosh has a 1.74 ERA.
Where you're going to want to look forward to, UMass fans, especially sophomore pitcher Ryan Maloney, who has been the ace of the staff. McIntosh, obviously, their shutdown reliever. And if I were to add my own little player to watch, Vinny Schiffo. He's a really small, shifty, see what I did there, player, really good at getting on base, steals bases, and really gets this team going. So hopefully we can see them make some improvements. Thanks a lot, Allie. Remember, nobody move because the bread is gone. Now it's time for the appetizer with some women's softball. So stay tuned. There you saw Coach Carvel's first press conference as the head coach of the Minutemen. Now, there is no really great segue, but he's hopefully going to lead us to a great season. The softball team, Allie and Tim are going to tell us, has also been having a decent season. Now, they come in at 9-18, but they are 3-2 in the conference and are riding a 2-game winning streak. So, Tim, Allie, thanks for coming in. The weekend's weather was crazy. Again, not enough to cancel school, apparently, but still crazy. So I want you guys to talk about the George Mason game that the girls had this weekend. What is things we should know about this game?
All right, yeah, so they had 2 games this weekend. First game, the Minutewomen were firing on all cylinders. Their hitting was great and their fielding was great. By the bottom of the 4th inning, they already had 7 runs. So senior Taylor Carbone was the one that contributed to most of those runs. She hit a grand slam at the bottom of the 4th, and the Patriots only had 1 hit. On to the second game, there was no runs put up until the bottom of the 4th, but the Patriots did give the Minutewomen a run for their money, but the Minutewomen did end up winning 4-1.
So a good game against George Mason, definitely there to build confidence. Now, Allie, with the rest of the weekend, we saw a whole series against George Mason like we usually do, 3-game series. Who was your MVP of this series?
I would have to say that the MVP was sophomore Meg Colleran. She is the pitcher for the Minutewomen. In the first game, she had 4 strikeouts. Only 1 hit was allowed. And in the second game, she only had 2 strikeouts, but there were 5 hits and 1 run for the whole entire game. So I really think that she stepped it up and proved that she should be that starting pitcher on the mound.
Meg Colleran has definitely carried the load for this team. She's started a majority of the games and been the ace. So remember, Meg Colleran, somebody you should look out for. And now I'm going to move over to Tim. Tim, we're looking forward to always conference play. The 9-18 unsettling, not great.
Yeah.
3-2 in conference play. That I can screw around with.
You got to highlight that, yeah, absolutely.
So let's look forward to the first of a couple of games. I believe St. Joe's we have coming up.
We have St. Joe's this weekend. Yeah, we have BC. If the game is on, we have BC coming up, which isn't really that much of an important game, but it is for the confidence. BC, it's going to be a tough game. They're very strong at the plate, the Eagles. They have 22 home runs on the season thus far, which triples the Minutewomen right now. So you definitely have
22 isn't divisible by 3.
No, it's not. Yeah, so it's divisible by 3 plus 1. Yeah.
Or you have like the Minutewomen have only hit like 7 homers, like and a half.
7.33.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So with that being said, you cannot give the Eagles anything easy. You have to be tight on the field. I mean, the Minutewomen have 42 errors on the season this far, and that is a lot. The Eagles, they have 37, so, their counterpart isn't really doing too great either, but 42 is nothing to brag about, and they need to stay tight against the Eagles. If they don't, then they're just giving this team who has so much power just that much more, people on base, runs, all that, so.
Base runners are the killer. Once you get a runner on base, that home run, that solo home run turns into a 2-run, 3-run grand slam, and the infamous 5-run home run.
Yeah, it's only happened a couple times.
That's always crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Now, Tim, and we get back into conference play. Yes. St. Joe's, you get a chance to go to 4-2 in the conference and really take a stranglehold, get in the top 6, top 5 where you want to be. How important is this game, and what should we expect going forward?
This series is huge coming up against St. Joe's. We have a doubleheader on Saturday, and that right there is, if it's being played, because there is snow on the ground and it is April 5th, if we can just acknowledge that. But anyway, if we do play these games, if the field conditions do hold out, we have doubleheader on Saturday. Winning the first leg in that game will be so crucial for the Minutewomen in this game because they are at 5th right now. They're at 5th right now in Atlantic play. They win that first leg, that gives them confidence and momentum to win the second game. Rarely ever in college and the NCAA, in my personal opinion, does the team who loses that first leg come back and win the second. It just, the momentum, the confidence, it's moment, it's confidence.
It's a pendulum.
It is a pendulum. It's a very good way of putting it. Absolutely. So winning those 2 games would be huge, and then Sunday would really be up for grabs, win that third. But right now, the Minutewomen are in 5th place, looking to jump up, break that top 3. That would be crucial. Big pillar in this part of the season for them.
So last question for both of you, throwing a little bit of a curveball. Get the reference. How much Meg Colleran do you think we're going to see in this series, especially against St. Joe's?
She played in the 2 games that occurred this past weekend, so I could definitely see her. If everything goes well in that first game, I think you could definitely see her starting again in the second game, and then maybe they might give her a break on Sunday. But I think there's going to be a lot of Meg Colleran that we're going to see this weekend.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. I at least once, maybe twice. She's doing great right now, so the more the better.
There you have it, everybody. Remember, Meg Colleran, this team 3-2 in division play right now, could be 5-2 by the end of the weekend. Thanks a lot, guys. When we come back, Alana Alonji comes on, and we're going to talk some women's lacrosse. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed your softball appetizer, but now we're diving into the main course, which is women's lacrosse. I'm here with Alana, Alana, and Alana. This team has been on a streak, 2-game winning streak to be exact, but they've been on a roll of late, and besides that BC blemish, they are doing really well this season. Definitely. So I want to know, Alana, of the games they had this weekend, what impact did defense have in their wins?
Well, compared to some of the blowouts earlier in the season, I think these past few games, especially as they enter conference play, the margins have become a little smaller scoring-wise. And I think defense definitely plays a big role, especially in women's lacrosse. We're going to take a look at some of their numbers from over the weekend defensively. For both games versus St. Joe's and Duquesne, they had 42 ground balls, 22 caused turnovers. They were 38 for 42 on clear attempts, and 1 in draws, 29-18. So all of these factors play a huge role in why they have been so successful offensively, and I think that this just speaks for how balanced of a team they are.
So we've seen this team dominate on offense, putting up 15 plus goals a game in multiple games this year, and now with those stats, we see they can control the defense, but I want to go on more of an individual level. How important is Nicole Truce to this team?
Well, she's is their top scorer now, and especially this past weekend, she had an unbelievable weekend. She was named A10 Player of the Week and also just named UMass Student Athlete of the Week. She had 10 goals on the weekend and leads the A10 with 33 goals through 10 games. So those are some unbelievable numbers.
And we care about scholastics here. Very good, Nicole.
Yes. And she's second in the A10 with just over 3. She's averaging 3 goals a game. Second in the A10 in points per game with just under 4 points. So her numbers are amazing. But that's not to say that she's the only person contributing on this team. There's over 6 girls into the double digits in goals. Some with 40 points at this point. So they definitely are offensively balanced and a lot of contributions from all over the roster.
So like you said, it's not just an individual performance, it's not just Nicole, and sometimes it's not always just the players. And we have some congratulations in order as Coach McMahon won her 100th game, I believe it is.
Yep.
So what impact do you think Coach McMahon has had on this team and the success that they've really had over the past several years?
Well, I think her numbers speak for themselves. She has 10 A10 titles. She's the second winningest coach in program history, so we obviously know that she can win, but I think it's her ability to interact with the players on an individual basis off the field that makes it so easy for her, and for the players to be so successful. She has the top offensive and defensive units year after year. So I think it's well-deserved, and the players, have been quoted to say how wonderful she is. So I think it's just great on and off the field.
Well, there you have it. You have a coach, a team, firing on all cylinders, both offensively and defensively, and nothing looks like they're going to stop this team. Thanks a lot, Alana. When we come back, John Anderson and Liam Byrne come fresh out of the kitchen to serve you up a nice men's lacrosse dessert. So stay right there. And welcome back in. We hope you've enjoyed your meal thus far, but you're not done yet because there's still dessert, and that's why I'm here with John Anderson and Liam Byrne. This weekend and last week, we talked a lot about UMass's game against Delaware, which we all expected them to win very handedly, and that wasn't the case. Delaware ended up beating UMass by a final score of 9-7. So, Liam, I want to turn to you. What happened to UMass's offense in the second half of that game?
Yeah, Tommy, I have no idea. I wish
It
I
went
was
the
there.
way of Amelia Earhart.
It went poof.
It went poof. I wish I was
Like
there to see
Amelia
it.
Earhart?
Well, we don't know that for sure.
We don't know what happened.
I don't want to speculate on that.
Yeah. Anyway,
This we know.
the Blue Hens were able to take advantage of the Minutemen. Lack of scoring for sure. The confusing part is it didn't look like the Minutemen should have lost this game. So as you can see here, the shot totals were an even at the fourth at 8, and Delaware only with 1 shot more than UMass the whole game. All across the board, the stats were even, like you see here on the graphic. And the ground balls totaled 26 for UMass and 25 for the Blue Hens. And each team got the ball equally on the face-offs. Each team was 10 for 20 at the X. So, I don't know, UMass did not score until the last 2 minutes in the first quarter, and the last time they scored was in the beginning, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, and that goal was from Brendan Hagerty. So a long time from where they didn't score. And no one stepped up in the fourth quarter at all. There were no standouts for UMass in this game at all, especially in the fourth. Tyler Bogart, coming off his impressive game against North Carolina with his hat trick and everything like that, dedicating the game to his uncle. He only had 2 goals. Buddy Carr, Brendan Haggerty, Bianchi and Consoletti, Paparo only with 1 goal in this one. So no standouts in this one, as we've been used to seeing this season, Tommy.
7 turnovers from those 3 attackmen as well. 3 starters combined for 7 turnovers.
That's big.
Not a good number. Now, there was one very decisive move made, and that was a change in goal. So, Liam, I want you to tell us who is now in goal and how they performed in that game.
Yeah, the new face in goal is freshman Sean Scanone.
Scanoon.
Scanoon. Tomato. And since we don't know him too well, here's a little bio. As you can see, he's 5'11", 225. He's a big boy.
Speaking of tomatoes.
Hefty boy. He's from East Islip, New York. And his first career start as a Minutemen in this one. He got some time against Brown and Albany, but his season stats look as follows with 13 saves, 9 goals against, 3 ground balls. Well, he had 3 ground balls and 1 caused turnover in this game, actually, which was big. For a goalie, you don't see that often. But on the season now, he's given up 13 goals and has 20 saves. I was a bit confused why Coach Cannella went with him in this one based on how Dan Dolan has been playing. Especially since Dan Dolan played really well against UNC and Penn State, both ranked opponents. Delaware not ranked at all, as you can tell, as we were talking about last week. And I'm eager to see whom Coach Cannella goes with against Towson on Saturday, guys.
Worth noting that it may have been an injury. I did not see Dan Dolan dressed. DJ Smith was dressed. I did not see Dan Dolan anywhere. I don't know what he looks like outside of the helmet. So if he doesn't have a number on him, then...
So let me ask you, see DJ Smith not dressed. Do you think this is maybe Coach Cannella underestimating a Delaware team, or do you think it's just
That's what I thought at first, because also not in the lineup, Peter Lindley did not play, second leading scorer for UMass. Tyler Bogart took Peter Lindley's spot, and also Tyler Weeks, LSM, out with an injury. That's a confirmed injury. The other 2 I'm unsure about, but Isaac Paparo really stepped up. He had a goal that almost led to a UMass comeback towards the end of the game there. And then the attack situation was strange. So the spot where Peter Lindley normally plays, they shifted Buddy Carr over to that spot. That's the left-handed attack position. And they put Tyler Bogart at the right-handed attack position and Brendan Haggerty at X. And it seemed like it was working out in the first half. Tyler Bogart did score twice. But then the second half, like we discussed earlier, the offense disappeared, and by the time the 4th quarter rolled around, they had completely rotated the attackmen.
It seemed Delaware figured out what they were throwing, what UMass was throwing at them, and really adapted. So, John, we talk about glaring issues a lot. Give us a little bit positives and negatives that we can take away from the Delaware game.
Well, positives, we talked about him earlier, Tyler Bogart. During my broadcast, we were comparing him to almost like a dirty politician, like how he's just scheming. He's like a rat. He just schemes in through the little holes, ends up on the crease with the ball, with a goal.
Not usually something you would consider good, but in this case, go Tyler.
And a negative would be UMass's play when the storm calmed. For some reason, when the storm was calm, UMass was dropping balls, throwing passes over each other's heads. But when it got chaotic, that was when they were scoring goals. Most of their goals came amidst chaos. The Isaac Paparo goal at the end of the game, for example. Noah Rack actually very, very cleverly, he could have had the ground ball. He slipped it under his legs, almost hockey shot it because he knew no one was on Paparo. Paparo actually got the ground ball and with a head full of steam just ran into the zone and took a shot and scored. So that was great. Tom Myers, the statistic reflects otherwise because him and Noah Rack combined end up accounting for 10 out of 20 of the face-off wins on the game. The other 10, of course, coming from the opposite team. And Tom Myers was actually exiled from the face-off dot in the first half because he couldn't win one. He could not win a face-off. They got lucky on a couple face-off violations. But then Noah Rack came in, started doing well, got hot, lost it a little bit, and then Myers came back, and they ended up 10 for 20. Not that bad, but it's...
I'd say that's completely and totally average.
Yeah, no, it is 50. Actually, that's an F in a class, though. Scanone, though, 7 saves in the third quarter, so I'd like to see him in that again. The only reason he lost that save streak was a couple bad bounces just got by him.
All right, guys, now real quick, I just want to wrap up the segment. What does this mean going into conference play? You lose to a team that you should have beaten, and now you only have several games to recover that ground and try and keep up with a team like Towson.
Well, Towson's number 6 now. But the short answer, which I'll elaborate on, is nothing. It really doesn't mean anything. UMass went 2-3 in conference play last year, lost to Delaware by a goal last year at Garber Field, still made it as the 4 seed. I don't see them beating Towson. They may have to go on a run. I don't want to see them winning 2 games again because that probably will not. You don't want to be fighting for that 4 seed again. But Hofstra, Drexel, and Fairfield are 3 very winnable games for this team. So it's not the end of the world. They probably just won't host the tournament.
We keep talking about how this conference is so small. It's not that big of a deal if you go 2 and 3. You can get a certain seed and everything like that. So I don't think it really affects CAA play too much. There are standouts in this conference like Towson and Hofstra and even UMass if you can put it in that respect. But really, I don't see too much difference in the conference play.
Well, there you have it. The lacrosse team is going into conference play. Make sure to keep up with them and remember to follow UMass Sports Weekly, and we'll give you all the updates on the team and how they're doing. Unfortunately, that's the end of dessert. The meal's over, and that's going to do it for us here at the show. Remember to follow us on Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. We have an Instagram, Periscope. I always tell you to use that. Am I missing social media sites? Do we have a Pinterest?
Snapface.
Do we have a Pinterest or a Tumblr?
Our show from last week is now up.
Yep.
That will
Also,
be
our
posted.
show from last week is
I
now
have
up.
a
I will
Tumblr.
make sure to share that on my Facebook, and we will share it on the UMass Sports Weekly Facebook. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If there's snow, maybe school will get canceled. But otherwise, have a great week, UMass, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place. Boom.